All right, so if you look at this question, it's a company that is in the medicine development or drug development. So they have three divisions. One where they develop the drugs, right? And since they are selling in international or rather different countries, so they get the approval from the relevant authorities to manufacture and sell that drug. Then they manufacture, so there's a manufacturing division, and then they sell, so there is a sales division. So pretty straightforward, isn't it? Right? Share price has been underperforming, and so there are issues there. Like any other profit oriented business, their objective also is to maximize returns to shareholders. And current performance measures are return on capital employed, average cost to develop a new drug, right? The idea is probably when the average cost reduces, your margin is better, isn't it? So you monitor how much you are spending on developing new drug, and of course, growth in revenue. And then they have engaged a consulting firm who has recommended balanced scorecard. And they have looked at creating shareholder value by innovating in drug development, right? So bringing in new technology, probably innovative methodologies, and then efficiency in drug manufacturing. So that's where your productivity improves and success in selling their products. The firm has presented an interim report with the following proposed performance measures. So for the four perspectives, they have suggested 4 KPIs: financial ROC, customer revenue growth, internal average cost to develop a new drug, and learning and growth, training days provided for employees each year. But the problem is, if you look at these KPIs, they are not. It's the same as what the company already has, isn't it? Except training days provided for employees each year. So because of that, CEO did not like it, right? And so he has dismissed the firm. Now he has given you the task as the performance management expert. Okay. So firstly, he will want you to relook at this. So let's see what the questions are. Second, he wants you to evaluate choice of performance measures currently used by Monza. Third, there has been debate at board level about how ROC should be calculated. Now, ROC, we know, operating profit divided by capital employed. But there has been debate. The marketing director stated that he was not sure, rather she was not sure what profit figure of at least 4 which were available. So according to their profit statement, they have 4 profit figures. Companies can have multiple depending on what kind of cost structure they have and at what level they want to measure their profit, right? It's up to them. So here in this scenario, they have 4 different profit figures, and they don't know which one to use for calculating ROCE. Especially given the large variation in results which this gives, obviously, isn't it? When the profit is at different level, and the ROC will give different figures. She also wondered what the effect would be of using equity rather than all capital to calculate a return on investment. Normally, when you say capital employed, it's the total capital, isn't it? So she's asking, if we only use equity, then what will happen? So then we have to see, what the data is, and then accordingly we have to advise. It's like this. If there are no debt involved, and if everything belongs to equity holders, then fine, you can use equity. But if there is debt, then your profit figure is also a result of both, then we need to tackle it accordingly. I'll come to that in a while. Some basic data has been provided in Appendix 1 to assist you in quantifying these. In addition, the board is considering introducing a TQM, right? Obviously, quality of output is critical in such a heavily regulated industry where the products can be a matter of life and death. There has been discussion about testing this idea within the manufacturing division. The CEO wants to understand first the cost associated with quality issues within that division. To aid your analysis, he has supplied some detailed information in Appendix 2. Next, the board requires an outline evaluation of how a TQM approach would fit in with the manufacturing division. Finally, they are talking about the information system and how the cost of this new system, will be and how this will fit in within the existing lean management approach. Now, what I want you to note, guys, okay, they are talking about KPIs. In one question, now, they are talking about balance scorecard, which is what non-financial performance indicators, models that are used in evaluating non-financial performance. We have balance scorecard, performance pyramid, building block, isn't it? Then they are talking about quality aspects, TQM, quality cost, JIT, there are so many. Then again, they jumped into lean management. So in this 50-mark question, right? So you can be tested on many things. Okay. So it's important that you are thorough, like I always say, in any area, so that you can bring in quality answer. All right. So let's see quickly how to answer these questions. Number one, assess. As usual, write a report. Normally 50 mark is a report, so ensure that you follow the report format. Right. 2 will be board of Monza, and you are a performance management expert. Okay, here you go. Performance management expert. Date, the exam date. Subject, just say performance report on Monza's. Now the first question, assess the problems of using a balance scorecard at Monza. I'll give you 2 minutes. Just jot down something. Now we know what Monza is, right? It's a drug development company, and a few other factors. The question is 8 marks. The problems of using BSc at Monza. Quickly jot down a few things. Right. So let's look at the answers, how we tackle this question. So first one is, what are the problems of using balance scorecard at Monza, isn't it? Can you tell me what they are asking in simple terms? What are they looking for? Now we have done a lot of questions. So with this, you should figure out now what they want. What are they asking? Exactly, simple as that. Disadvantages of BSc, right? Firstly, okay, they have given 4 measures, right? KPIs, and all are what? Financial, isn't it? Revenue growth, ROC, right? Everything is pointing towards financial, except this training days, right? So first one, you can say mostly financial, but you must explain, huh? Because if you are to manage your business from all angles, you have to have financial as well as what? Non-financial, internal, external, right? Indicators that will talk about your efficiency and also your performance outside, in terms of the market. So a balanced, set of measures is important, right? Then we are talking about maximizing shareholder wealth, isn't it? Maximizing shareholder wealth. There's no direct link between the measures and the objective. And now we know if it is maximizing shareholder wealth, right? The ideal measure would be what? Economic value added. So here they have given you ROC, which is an accounting based measure, and the other problem is they have multiple profit figures, right? So it will not directly link to the achievement of the objective. So that is the next one. No direct link to mission. So explain that and right, huh? No direct link to mission of maximizing shareholder wealth. Then, as usual, measures will conflicting measures. The notion is what? You provide more training, productivity will improve, because training days is one of your targets. Okay, you provide more training, you did not get efficiency. On training, you are spending a lot of money, so your profit go down. So on one side, your profit went down. On another side, you did not gain your efficiency target. So you're losing. So conflicting measures. Then you can also say that could be information overload. Now, when it comes to drug development, this is where APM is important. Huh? You have to get into the company, right? Live the company and give the answer. So information overload. They are a manufacturing company. They are international. They have a sales division. They are working with regulators. So you need to look at so many aspects. And when you have to measure all of that, then your information can be what? Too much, too many. So then there can be an overload situation. And then you don't know which one to focus. You'll end up measuring and not managing the business, right? That's how you explain these points and write. Huh? Another problem, gaining management commitment, right? I mean, we can come up with many measures and things like that, but now you see here, CEO was concerned, and he even fired the consultancy firm. So that's good, right? Him alone committing is not enough. Others also should get into the picture, isn't it? Then time and cost. Time and cost involved in generating data, in the information system, right? And analysis. Now, this is a classic example of the blunders that many companies make. Forget about balance scorecard. Normally, they bring in an information system with an objective, and most of the time, these information systems don't support. Either the supplier doesn't support or the system has issues, right? Then it creates a big problem, because you don't monitor, you can't measure performance on a daily basis, right? I mean, in a factory flow, if you don't know who has come and who has not come, how will you manage that day on that particular day? There can be staff who can fall sick and not come. But normally the assumption is, okay, everyone has to come to work, but the main machine operator did not come, and system should alert you, isn't it? Either the HRIS system or whatever the system that is in place. So this is another critical thing, and especially for BSc as well, because we'll be collecting data using the information system, right? Right. Another big problem with balanced scorecard. Now you have 4 perspectives, isn't it? You're looking at so many things. Let's say under each perspective you have 3 KPIs, so that 4 into 3 is 12. But don't you think we should have 1 or 2 measures which will give us an overall picture? It's easy, isn't it? Right? So too many measures. Need 1 for overall. Need 1 for overall evaluation. That way it's easy, right? I mean, it's like in a cricket match. Let's say the score will tell you whether your team is performing good or bad, whether you are winning matches. So the team score. But if you want to understand further performance, then you go to individual players' stats, and there are so many, there are rate, there this, all that. And then you can understand nitty-gritties. But there has to be one which will tell you the overall performance. Then there can be lack of key perspectives. Now you see, it's particularly important for this company. They are into drug development, and they go to a particular country's authority to get approval. What is the status of those? Are they, getting the approval? What kind of issues they face? Are they not getting? If so, what's the reason? Because they can learn through that, isn't it? And if only you measure that, it will get highlighted. Otherwise, no. Right? So lack of key perspectives. So you can say drug development, CSR initiatives, right? ESG, or whatever that applicable to you. And if you look at the measures, ROC, revenue growth, average cost, Yeah, all financial we said. You can also say measures should include strategic, and operational matters. Not only strategic, but both, right? So that's another key thing that you need to focus on. So 8 points would do. Got 9 here. Any questions? Now next one, evaluate the choice of the current performance measures, one part, and the second question, the consulting firms propose performance measures for Monza. 12 marks. Tricky question, no? Evaluate the current performance measures and the consulting firms performance measures. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Evaluate means what? Positives and negatives, isn't it? Positives and negatives. Take 5 minutes and jot down some points. Now here you will be a little confused because current performance measures and the consulting firm's measures are same. In that case, okay, how do I write this now? Isn't it? Because and before and is one question, after and is another question. So you need to have two subheadings: evaluation of current, choice of performance, then evaluation of the consulting firm's proposed performance measures. 12 marks. Dekatama, you have to get 6 or 7 5 or whatever. But then you can't be writing the same answer in both, isn't it? Because the measures are same. It has to be two different sets of answers. Give it a try. I will give you the answer in a while, but give it a try. All right, guys. Can you share the answer for the first part if you have? Choice of current performance measures. Choice of current performance. Purely financial. Okay, what else? No direct link to shareholder wealth maximization. Okay. What else can we say? Okay. We can suggest new measure. Take a, don't go to do that. Right? Third part is touching a bit on that. No? Yeah. You can do that, but then it has to come with proper justification. No? Doesn't consider safety measures in drug development, which is critical. Okay. Right, let me give you my list with regards to the choice of current performance measures. Right. First thing, all are financial. All are financial. Now, you know, financial measures, they can be what? Manipulated. Isn't it? They can be manipulated. So that's the biggest problem. You will not know what is, happening in fact, right? Truth will not be known. Truth will not be known. So that is one of the biggest problems. Then the other problem is what? Financial measures are backward looking. Right? And for decision making, we need future data. Future, let's say forecast, right? For decision making, we need future forecast, not only past data, right? Then they talk about average cost to develop a new drug, right? But they also have an objective to be innovative, isn't it? That doesn't measure that, right? So it conflicts with the objective or to be innovative. Then focus is only on financials, but no non-financial performance indicators, right? You need NFPIs also, balance between financials as well as non-financials. Then the other one, revenue growth. It's a good measure, right? When you say evaluation, you need to talk about good and bad both. So revenue growth is a good measure. But what is the other side? Now, when you say revenue is growing, that means you are selling more products, right? Your top line is increasing. You are bringing in more money. So that's the understanding, isn't it? So that is good. But what about giving discounts, selling on credit, right? Are we capturing those, right? So we don't know. So discounts, then credit sales. So you need to capture those also. Otherwise, this measure will, hide a lot of things. You can also say revenue from new products, new drugs also need to be looked at to see the real effect of revenue growth, and highlight revenue growth from key products which are successful in the market, so that you can develop those further. Then average cost to develop a new product, right, will not mention efficiencies. Okay, your average cost to develop a new product is coming down, fine, but what is the reason? It can be that supplier has reduced the price. It can be that a particular raw material or the raw materials of the drug quality is bad, therefore they have reduced the price. That does not mean you are efficient, isn't it? So internally your efficiency should also be captured. So average cost to develop a new drug will not identify the internal efficiencies. So these are the 6 that I have noted, right, in terms of current performance measures. Then consulting firms performance measures. Consulting firms performance measures. Give me a few points. What do we say about those? Now we can't write the same thing here. All right, it has to be new points. If you write the same thing, you won't get marks. Can be positive and negative. Now what do we write for consulting firms performance measures? So one point you can say, same as existing measures. So good for what? Familiarity, understanding, right? ease of use. That you can say. Familiarity, ease of use, understanding. You're not moving away, isn't it? Or just continuing what they have given. So that's okay. Good or bad is later. But in terms of what they have given you, it is same as what you are doing. So familiarity is there. No need for additional understanding and training. Easy. Your information system can continue to do what you are doing, and also easy to understand, isn't it? Then existing information system is same. So you don't need additional investment, right? You don't need additional investment. And the problem is what? This will not help to drive performance. This will not help to drive performance because we are looking at the same measures. You can't be doing the same thing every day and expecting different results. You want different results, you need to start doing different things and measure different KPIs. Right, now Sagar, your question of whether we can suggest new measures. Here you can say, but before that you have to say, none linked to shareholder value maximization. Hence, EVA could be brought in. And then you write 2 lines about how EVA can help measure shareholder value maximization. As well as before making measures, we need to make sure system is capable of providing information in cost-effective way. Yeah. Yes. So what you have to say is the information system that you have now should be able to capture data for more effective performance measures. When you change, when you change to new measures. Then learning and growth measures are important, right? Plus, it should also look at revenue generated from new products, which is a result of your learning and growth. Or you can say efficiency is measured in terms of cost saving, time saved, productivity, those need to be measured as a result of learning and growth. Training days cover wider scope, correct? This need to be cover only those who are not knowledgeable in operation in effective way. Yeah. Plus, provide additional knowledge to people who are already up there. I get what you're saying. I mean, no point teaching debit and credit to a guy who is ACCA qualified, right? Plus, you need to teach something more or better to a guy who is ACCA qualified where he has not gained that knowledge before. Both. So both need to be captured in your learning and growth. Another observation is the waste of time and money. Time and money on the consultancy firms measures, on consultancy firms performance measure, because it's same same as now. So they have to, give a balanced, view, come up with more, innovative measures. So consultancy firms performance measure is a waste of time and money for us at the moment. Then you can say, as per BSc, right, you need financial and non-financial performance indicators, internal and external performance measures. So with that you can conclude. Right, guys, now I wanted to compare these two lists. Except this point, except the last point, or what I have highlighted, all others are different, isn't it? Choice of current performance measures, this point I said focus is only on financial but no NFPA. Under consultants also I said BSc should include financial and non-financial. Why? You need to reason it. And also include internal and external. So I have added that one, internal and external. So if you look at these points, right, carefully written to show that we are not replicating up and down. Choice of current performance measures and consulting firms performance measures. It has to be different. The way you write. Now this is where you need to focus in APM. You have to carefully write the answer. Okay, so what you write on top in terms of evaluating the current performance measures has to be different to what you write at the bottom, because both measures are same. So that's how the examiner becomes tricky, confusing him. So you have to be really, really smart in ensuring that you don't write the same thing up and down. Now a lot of these questions, guys, I choose for you to understand this. So meva pick karanda, and make sure that you carefully tackle this in the exam. Because I have seen students enough, whatever they write on top, come and write at the bottom, because the measures are same. Then they also ask me, sir, what else to write? So you have to be creative enough to separate it. 12 marks you need to capture, isn't it? Right, let's move to the third one. Evaluate the effect of choosing this is a good one. Evaluate the effect of choosing different profit and capital measurement for different measures of ROCE, or rather return on investment, and recommend a suitable approach for Monza. So 11 marks. So appendix 1. Now they said there are 4 profit items. So we got gross profit, we have operating profit, profit before tax, and profit after tax. And you see there's a restructuring cost after GP, other cost, and then there's a restructuring cost. restructuring cost is not something that is recurring, then can we put it back, or can we deduct it and then calculate the return on investment, right? I'm going to give you some time. And you now capital employed. Now look at the capital structure. Equity 1161, debt 8739. So in calculating return on investment or ROCE, which profit figure and which capital are we going to take? For a question like this, right, you need to do calculation and justify. Now look at this paragraph. Third, there's been a debate at board level about how ROC should be calculated. The MD, rather marketing director, stated that she was not sure. Obviously, marketing director should be used and why, especially given the large variation in result which is given, which this gives. She also wondered what the effect would be of using equity rather than all capital to calculate a return on investment. If so, you need to put equity and show this will be the result, and this is how you need to look at it. Some basic data has been provided in appendix 1. Okay, so she is asking which profit figure to take and which capital employed to take. And what if we take only equity as the denominator, capital figure? If that is the case, your numerator has to match that denominator. Apples with apples, isn't it? Can you do some work? There's marks for calculation plus theory, right? Think and calculate some ROCs, with combinations, and recommend a suitable one. I'll give you a few minutes. Right, guys, can you share the profit figures that you have calculated with me? What are the profit figures that you have calculated? You can just put the equations there. Okay, with restructuring cost, without restructuring. With restructuring, 11%, without 16%. Right. We, Sagar, very good. Huh? Now, actually, we need to, right? So you have done everything. So it's better, but make sure that you don't run out of time. Because when you're confused as to which figure to produce, you do, as much as possible. Using equity, yeah. Using equity, if you are using equity, that means equity shareholders, no. Then the profit figure that you take should only what is left for them. If you are using equity, then the profit figure is what is left, only for them. It can't be the operating profit, because operating profit before other things. Yeah. Return on investment based on operating profit. So 18, or rather 1811 divided by equity, which is 1161 plus 8739. 18.2%. So you can say this helps to look at the overall picture of the company, isn't it? And operating profit matched with total capital. So this is one way to look at it. Then return on investment before restructuring. Restructure cost. So that is 2293 divided by the total capital, which is 1161 plus 8733. 23.2%. So you can say this looks at the controllability element, isn't it? Now, restructuring, like I said, it's not a frequent thing, right? And senior management would have made the decision to do the restructuring. So if you have to see what the manager was responsible, then you have to take before restructuring, right? So controllable element. So good for looking at the responsibility accounting part. Bring these terms into your answer. All right. Bring these terms into your answer. That's very important. So ROI with operating profit is 18.2%. ROI with before restructuring is 23.2%. Then ROE, return on equity. Can you quickly tell me what the return on equity is? So profit after tax 1126. That's what belongs to whom? Equity holders divided by equity 1161. 97%. 1126 divided by 116. So here you will say what belongs to shareholders. %. You should also provide the gearing ratio. What is the gearing ratio? To show that the company's gearing is very high, right? So when the company's gearing is very high, it is better to look at return on equity rather than looking at, you can look at overall figure also. But if you are to see what is more applicable to the shareholders per se, then ROE is better, 96%. And in explaining that point, you need to bring in the gearing ratio also. So gearing is 8739 divided by 8739 plus equity, which is 1161. That's about 88%. So highly geared company, isn't it? So you should also say benchmark, right, with competition. You can take competitor annual report, isn't it? Because it's a listed company. So you can take a similar listed company, right? So benchmark with competition. Right. Also, since it's a percentage, comparison is possible, isn't it? Relative performance. So all this you need to include in your answer. Right. So this is what you see in the screen is what we expect to be in the answer of a student. You guys okay? Any questions? Okay, moving on to the next one. Analyze the current quality cost in the manufacturing division and then briefly discuss how implementation of TQM would affect the division. So first we'll analyze the current quality cost. Right. What are the quality cost categories? Tell me first. Quickly type. How many marks here? 11, 10 marks. So little bit of explanation is also needed. What are the quality cost categories? What are the quality cost categories? Correct. Prevention, appraisal, internal failure, external failure. Prevention and appraisal together, what do we call it? And internal failure and external failure, what do we call it? Very good. Conformance cost and non-conformance cost. Conformance is prevention and appraisal. Non-conformance is internal and external failure. In answering this question, please explain what they are. Prevention, what it is. One and a half line is enough. Okay. Appraisal, what it is. Internal failure, what it is. External failure, what it is. So prevention is all the money spent on preventing something bad happening. Appraisal is examination, testing. Money involved in examination or testing. Matters related to quality. Internal failure is something wrong happened. Product has not reached the customer. External is something bad happened. Product has reached the customer. Customer suffered a loss. Because of that, now you have to spend money to put things back in place. Right, 2 minutes. Quickly put these figures under different headings. Tell me the totals. Quickly put the quality cost under different headings and get me the total. All right. All right. So let's look at the quality cost. So first you provide the definitions, huh, for all four quality cost categories. So prevention, appraisal, internal failure, and external failure. So prevention we have 8 million. Appraisal we have 12 million. Internal failure 17 minus 4. Right, so that is 13 million. Just put 13, 17 minus 4. Then external failure 22 plus 5, 27 million. So total conformance is 20 million and total non-conformance is 40 million. So spending at least 10% on non-conformance will save you what? 4 million. So write that point. Spending 10% improvement will save 4 million. Yeah. It's a joke to me. But can't we contest or something and solve this out? How can this thing? So now what do we do? Okay. Yeah, please can you do that for me? Okay, where are you? Okay. What are the documents you need? No. You want the originals? Yeah, yeah, you send me a WhatsApp. Put it in detail. Huh? And do I have to pay again? Yeah. One. How much is that? Yeah. For each person. Come on, yeah, this is your problem. Now, why do I have to pay again? Then we could have at once put for this normal note. Can you send me that thumbs up rule? Now again I have to pay if I am to apply for this. Yeah, anyway, you send me the Samsung and the details. 10% means you say 10% improvement if you have done on the 40 million, you could have saved 4 million. So what it means is if you spend money on conformance, spend money on conformance to avoid non-conformance cost. Spend money on conformance to avoid non-conformance cost. Yeah. No. No. You want? Yeah, I think. Right. Let's look at the PQM partner. Second part is what? How implementation of TQM would affect the division. Now, total quality management, right? Right. So as you see on the screen, these are the 4 factors you need to capture. So it's about prevention of errors before they occur. So you need to put the systems in place, train the employees, spend some money so that they don't do any mistakes. So prevention of error is better. So that's why you need to spend money on conformance so that you can avoid non-conform. It will protect your reputation, save money, and then work on continuous improvement. Right? Gradually over a period, you continuously improve your processes, focusing on efficiencies. So there you can say drug development work, manufacturing, right? So that your cost of production will come down, efficiency will improve. Then real participation by all, from the security officer to the CEO, everyone should take part in quality initiatives, and you can also talk about quality circles, right? All employees should get involved. And finally, management commitment, right? Senior management support should be there. Without that, I mean, nobody's going anywhere, right? Without senior management approval support, you cannot initiate anything within the organization, isn't it? Without the approval, nothing can be done. So capture this in your answer. Right, the last one, briefly advise on how drug development division can aim to make new information system lean. Right, now listen very carefully. Now what is lean and what is lean management? What is lean and what is lean management? Tell me that first. What is lean and what is lean management? So lean management is all about waste elimination. Exactly, right? Lean management is all about waste elimination. Now see, the concept of lean, waste elimination, is applied to information systems. IT, I mean, you will normally not think of that, isn't it? Well, when we say waste, we think of production, factory flow, materials, labor, idle time can be considered as a waste, isn't it? But now the examiners apply that concept to information system. So how do we make the information system lean? How do we eliminate waste in an information system? I'll give you one example. Having too much of information or having duplication of information is what? Is waste. We will take up space, time, money. That is what he is looking at. Right. So here in questions like this, you need to be smart in terms of figuring out what exactly you need to write. Okay. So lean information, 5 marks, we need to write 5 points. So number one, avoid information overload. So you can explain that. Too much of information will take up space, money, time in analysis. It will waste our time, isn't it? Then producing reports only for those who need it, right? Don't just produce report where people won't read. Produce it to people who need it. Then avoid data duplication. Again, data duplication. What else could we think of? Then produce real-time information. See, if you produce data later, you can't act on it, and that data is what? Useless. You have spent time and money and effort in producing that data, which is no longer useful. So produce real-time data on which you can act and make a decision. And finally, the most important thing, information produced should be accurate and clear. Information produced should be accurate and clear. Otherwise, if you produce wrong information, again you have to produce accurate information. If it is not understandable, if it is not clear, again you need to prepare information so that you have to put more work in making it understandable to the reader. Graphs, pie chart, various methodologies. So these are the 5 points that you can write under lean information system. All right. So if you see this question, you have multiple areas being tested, right? And sticking to what exactly is required, right? So in that few things, you need to know the theory really well and your time management. Okay, don't go overboard, time management is very important. Easy questions, attempt first and then move to the later parts later. Right. Let's take a short break and come back. Once All right, guys. I've shared the next question with you. Can you please run through that soon? All right, guys. So I hope you went through the data. Now, this is a question that I don't miss in any revision, right? It's a must do question. Okay. This question says a lot about APM exam also, right? In terms of how sometimes it can be tricky, what exactly they expect from you, right? And how much of theory you need to know. And most importantly, how carefully you must read the question. By now you would have figured out, especially with the AB, I mean especially with A and B, sometimes you will have certain confusions, right? So it shows it's a good question to highlight all of that, right? So let's see how to go about it. Okay, don't worry if you can't do this. Pretty much not a lot of students get it right. It's not that it is difficult, it's just it can be a little confusing. And guys, now see the data they're talking about, power generation, electricity, station types, coal, gas, nuclear. Now these are not things that we use on a daily basis now, unless of course you're working for such an industry, isn't it? If you're working for such an industry, yes. If not, you will not be familiar with these terms. So in the exam, the moment you face something like this, then you're wondering, okay, what is this? How do I bring it to the answer? So sometimes these words can confuse you, right? They can make you not understand what is going on. So that's what happens, right? So that's why you need to be able to be calm, understand what is going on, right? So let me first read it for you. So electricity generation is a electricity generating firm, something like LECO, producing power for industry and the general public. In the past, company has been dominated by the need to make suitable returns on capital for its shareholders. It's a private entity, right? Power stations work in broadly the same way by taking in fuel, which is coal, gas, or nuclear, and producing electricity and waste products. Right. Maxwell has the following mix of power stations. Now, understanding this data is very important. Let's do one by one. So we got coal, a smaller plant and a large plant. Gas, a smaller plant and a large plant. Nuclear, one plant. Maximum generating power. Even if you don't understand this MW, it's okay. You can just say output. It can be units, liter, whatever, but here it's megawatts, isn't it? Right. 300. Okay. 300 for coal, 600 for large coal, small 39, yeah, 1200. Operating cost of electricity, right? Dollars per megawatt, that is also given. Capital cost is given, right? Number of stations of each power station. So at the moment they have 8, 16, 20 stations in total. Totals for Maxwell, total capital invested. Now these are totals. Now see, pay attention. Total for Maxwell. Number of stations, total number of stations. Total capital invested for all the stations. And total CO2 emission. Now you see, they said waste. All power stations work in broadly the same way by taking in fuel and producing electricity and waste. So here, megawatts generation is electricity, the output that you expect. CO2 becomes what? The waste. Right. Now that's why the understanding of this data is very important. Maximum generating power is the output of the station measured in megawatts at 100% operating capacity. So they have told you, what is megawatts. The electricity produced by a station is measured in megawatt hours. So all descriptions are given. It is using the same load factor applies across all the different types of station. They are working at the same percentage of capacity throughout the year. So there is no fluctuation. Operating capacity is same. Operating cost of electricity is the cost before the cost of financing the capital invested in a station. CO2 emissions are estimated based on industry standard figures for similar stations. Capital costs and CO2 emissions figures are current best estimates. Right, now we come to the important part. The business has two alternative plans. Plan 1A and 1B. To maintain current generating capacity, while plan 2 will grow the business. So this is where few got confused, right? I'll show you where. Business has two alternative plans to maintain the generating capacity, while plan 2 will grow the business. So there is plan 1. Within plan 1 you have A and B subsection, and then a separate plan 2. Plan 1A, build a new nuclear power station to replace one of 300 megawatt coal station, one of 600 megawatt coal station, and also one of 300 megawatt gas station. The stations being replaced are all reaching the end of their. So plan 1A, they want to increase one more nuclear station and get rid of these 3. 1B, replace the gas and coal stations mentioned in plan 1A with equivalent gas and coal station, thus maintaining the current generating mix. So no change. You just replace one gas and coal, so no change. Of course you need to invest, right? But the composition of the power stations will not change. Then plan 2, in order to grow the business, a new nuclear station is being considered in combination with one of plan 1A or B. Right, if that is the case, if it is plan 1A and plan 2, then it will be 2 nuclear stations. If it is plan 1B, then 1 gas, 1 coal, 1 nuclear station. All right. So in combination with one of plan 1A or B, this new nuclear station would be the same as the existing one. So in terms of cost, output, CO2 emission, it's going to be all same. Max is trying to raise finance either for plan 1A or 1B, and in addition, one of these plans, plan 2. A nuclear plant takes about 5 years to build. These are relevant for the other parts. Assuming no regulatory difficulties or problems over the design choice. It has working life of 40 years. You take 5 years to build, 40 years to operate, and costs about 1 billion. At current price to decommission, although this estimate is uncertain as each site is unique if the decommissioning difficulties which it presents. So decommissioning means at the end of its life, you need to put the land back to its original use. So the decommissioning part is. But the biggest problem here is it is an estimation. So we don't know what exactly is going to be the cost. We will only know after 40 years. The government of D has joined the international community in pledging to have greater concern for the environment. Initially, it has stated that there is a national goal to reduce carbon dioxide emission by 20% in the next 5 years. That's one objective. Reduce CO2 by 20%. And government is aware that electricity demand is estimated to rise by 10% over the next 5 years. Nevertheless, it is strongly encouraged business to help achieve this reduction in CO2 emissions. There's a proposal to raise a carbon tax on CO2 emissions in order to encourage reductions. The government is also concerned that there are other pollutants emitted by power stations, but has decided to focus efforts on CO2 initially, as it is a key cause of climate change. Right. Let's look at the first one. Using Maxwell's stated environmental goal, assess the proposed investment plans 1A and 2. It's very clear. We have to look at only plans 1A and 2. Don't bring plan 1B here. Don't bring plan 1B here. What is plan 1A? Build a new nuclear power station. So power station is increasing to replace one of the 300 megawatt coal stations, one of the 600 megawatt coal stations, and one of the 300 megawatt gas stations. So those will reduce, a nuclear station will increase. Station being replaced, yeah. And then plan 2, in order to grow the business, a new nuclear station is being considered in combination with one of plan 1A or B. This nuclear station would be the same as the existing stations. Now, this data is very important for us to start the work. Okay, now let's get into our Excel. First, we need to put our goal, right? Reduce CO2 emission by 20% and increase power generation by 10%. So whatever we are doing, whatever the option we are exploring, should help achieve this objective. Otherwise, no point. Hurry. Now, can you start? I'll start in 2 minutes. Now, look at this data. They are talking about increasing power generation by 10%, reducing CO2. Now, if you look at this table, they have given you a lot of data. Operating cost is given, capital cost is given, total capital invested is given. All that is not needed for us. What we need is power generation and CO2 only. Now, I told you, you can get confused, right? So when there's a lot of data, that's what happens. So you should know which data to pick from the details that are given. So for our objective to reduce CO2 emission, we need CO2 data. To increase power generation, we need megawatt data. That's all. So we should learn to work with that. Start now. So I have taken the number of stations and the power it generates, and I have calculated the total megawatts. And I'm also taking the CO2. Right. So now we look at plan 1A. Right. So in your plan 1A, number of stations are changing, therefore megawatt and CO2 will also change, right? So coal stations, 4 will become 3 because we are reducing one. Coal small will become 3, large will also become 3. Gas remains, rather gas will also reduce to 1, isn't it? 8 is becoming 7. And gas large of course remains same, but nuclear we are adding 1 more. So currently we have 2. Plan 1A, it will become 3. So now megawatts, 3 station multiplied by 300. Per station is 300, so 900. Then 3 into 600, 7 into 300, 2 into 900, and 3 nuclear into 1002. And the total there is 10,200, right? Similarly, CO2 emission. Okay. So what is given here is the total. 3.15 is for 4 stations. So now we have to find it for 3 stations. So 3.15 divided by 4 multiplied by 3. 2.3625. 12.61 divided by 4 multiplied by 3. 3.15 divided by 8 multiplied by 7. 7.1 divided by 2 into 2 remains same. 0.5 divided by 2 multiplied by 4. And the total of that is 22.4263. We need the total here as well. Right. Now with plan 1A, CO2 changes, not CO2, yeah, CO2 and then megawatts, right? Now, megawatt, now you are generating 10,200 with plan 1A. Earlier you generated 10,200, isn't it? So no change. No change. That means we are not meeting the objective in terms of power generation. Okay, no change. CO2 22.4265 26 0.84. That means what? 0.845. So 85% means 15% reduction, isn't it? 15% reduction. Now our target is 20%. So plan 1A fails to meet both targets. Plan 1A fails to meet both targets. That's the conclusion. Plan 1A fails to meet both targets. Right. Let me take you through the next one. Plan 1A plus plan 2. So same approach we need to take. One A plus plan 2. number of station, megawatt, and CO2. So number of stations are now changing, isn't it? It's just that with plan 2, we are adding another one more nuclear station. So 33724. So now we need to get the output for this. Since it is the same, I'll take it from here. Only the nuclear will change, isn't it? So that is 600 into 4. Not 600 into 4. 1200, yeah. 4800. So divided by 2, multiplied by 4. 4800. The sigma of that is 11,400. CO2, only the nuclear CO2 will change, all others are same. Point 0.5 for 2, no, for 4 it will be 1, right? Yeah. 2 multiplied by 1. Multiplied by 4. What? 22.67625. Right, now, can you tell me the reduction in CO2 and the increase in power? Now the power is changed, isn't it? Power and CO2 have changed. Megawatt, what was 10,200 is now 11,400. CO2, what was 26.51 is now 22.6725. Power has increased, CO2 has dropped. I want the percentages. CO2 megawatt. Tell me what has happened. I'll give you 1 minute quickly to calculate. Guys, what's the change? Guys, anyone? Percentage increase? Okay, so CO2, sorry, megawatt, 11,400 divided by 10,200. So there's a 11.7% increase. Isn't it? 11.7% increase. So your power generation objective is met, isn't it? CO2 drop. Okay, I've gone and put it in the wrong place. CO2 drop, how much? Now, when you take the CO2 drop, you can't compare directly 22 with 26, because 22 is for 11,400 megawatts output, whereas 26 is for 10,200. So you have to take the per unit value and then compare. All right. So for 11,200, it's 22.62 divided by 11,400. 26.51 divided by 10,200. So the difference between these two. So to 0.76 here, 1 minus, So that is 23% reduction. So with plan 1A and plan 2, you are meeting both the objectives. So you have to put a note down. With the above plan 1A and plan 2, Maxwell will be in a position to meet both the objectives of CO2 emission and power generation. Right, now next, that's another important question. Now, discuss the life cycle costing issues associated with plan 2. Now, particularly plan 2, if you see, look at this paragraph. The paragraph on top. Maxwell is trying to raise finance for either plan 1A or plan B, or 1B. In addition, plan 2, a nuclear plant, takes about 5 years to build, assuming no regulatory difficulties or problems over the design. It has a working life of 40 years and costs about 1 billion at current prices to decommission. Although this estimate is uncertain, as each site is unique in the decommissioning difficulties which it presents. Right now, 5 years to build, 40 years it's operating, and after 40 years only you are what? Decommissioning. Now let's say the guy who's doing this project is 60 years old. Do you think he will live to see the end of this project? No. Do you think he can estimate the cost of decommissioning? No, because after 40 years, God knows what will happen. Now these are what the life cycle issues are. Let me show you one more thing and explain what exactly is happening there. Now take for example this life cycle chart. Product life cycle. Right? Now you see our nuclear plant, even to introduce, before introduction there's 5 years. Growth, maturity, decline, this whole thing takes 40 years. After that only you will know what is going to happen. Right? So question is, what kind of difficulties this will pose to you? You understand? What kind of difficulties will this pose? Right? Discuss the life cycle costing issues associated with plan 2. So the things that you have to say, first you explain what is life cycle costing. Something that you learned from F2, F5, right? We also learned. Life cycle costing is all about costing a product or a service from inception till the end. So total cost of the product or service over its entire life divided by total number produced throughout the life will give you life cycle cost per unit. That is one, those are the initial explanation. Then the issues, okay, within the 5 years, what if there are regulatory requirements that can delay? Then the 5 years will become more, cost will also increase, right? Then 40 years. What if the government changes, the targets? Currently they say CO2 20%, but what if they change it to 25%? Because you are already building a nuclear based on those estimates, your output estimates. So if that changes, if the objective changes, then this will also go for a 6. Then the other important part is decommissioning, which is going to happen after 40 years. Right? So they are estimating the decommissioning cost is going to be really difficult, because you don't know what kind of a damage your nuclear plant is going to cause to the environment, not only the soil, but the surrounding environment. And then what kind of things you need to put it back to its normal usage. Right, so those are things that you need to discuss. Then thirdly, explain how the introduction of input-output analysis will affect the environment performance, measurement and information system at Maxwell. So input-output analysis is basically all what goes in must come out. Difference is what? Waste or evaporation. So again, 9 marks, no more than 5. So you need to explain that. Then environmental performance is basically your activities in relation to the environmental performance management. So you will eliminate waste. So you should be able to measure how much of waste is going to the environment and therefore take corrective actions to put that into place. And then information system. So you should have data capturing mechanism at each point, data analysis mechanism, reporting structures. Now you might capture data, but that has to be reported in a understandable, format. That has to be presented to the key people. Those are what they're asking there. Information system at Maxwell. Plus you have to invest on the information system, so there's another cost there. You need to bring in people to operate. Okay, so those are very practical, scenario related questions, right? The last two part I will share the answer. Let me check if I have it. Yeah. Yeah, I've just shared the answer with you. Just elaborate on that. So guys, with this I will have to say good luck to you for your exams. Few things on the exam. Like with any exam, ensure that you are managing the time well, right? And when it comes to APM, please be very thorough with your theory. Now you can see All what we are bringing to this answer is full of theory, right? Theory, we are applying application, not write the theory as it is. We will write the theory as it is for definition to get that 1 mark or 2 mark or 3 marks maximum. But that has to be applied to the scenario. Don't go out of the scenario, just say efficiency, effectiveness, company has to do good. No, you have to specifically say what exactly should they do to improve performance, to tackle the issues. So only when you know the theory, you will be within that scope. Don't go out and talk. What are the balanced scorecard issues? You need to know the disadvantages. How do we implement TQM? You need to know the features of TQM. Then only you can implement it. Right? So be very thorough with the theory. And so time management, being very thorough with the theory. Numbers, always make sure your decimal points are consistent. Within a question, you need to have same decimals. If it is 2 point, all 2 point, not 1, 2 point, another 3 point. No, you can't do that. You can round off nicely as it applies. Then use proper headings. You can answer in whatever the order you want, right? And please attempt 100% of the paper. That's very important. You must attempt 100% of the paper and write it in small paragraphs. Okay, I normally say points. It's not bullet points. Small paragraph, 2 line, 3 line, like that. If it is 5 marks, you have to have 5 paragraphs of answer. So you need to expedite and answer these questions, right? And in the meantime, if there are any questions, please touch base, get in touch with me, and try to do as many questions as possible. Okay, and do it on your laptop. Don't write and practice. Also do the mock papers on the system, ACCA, website. Those are ways to get you some practice. Okay, don't write and practice. Always type and practice, because it's an online exam. You should have the typing speed and the familiarity to work with that environment. All right, so with that, guys, let me call it a day and wish you all the very best for the exam. Be in touch. Thank you.